I still can't explain why. That evening, I decided to check the mailbox. I never do that. Bills come by email. Nobody's written a letter in a decade, but something compelled me to step out into the hallway barefoot, holding a cup of cold tea. Inside the box was an envelope, no stamp, no return address. The paper was thick, slightly rough, like the kind my grandmother used to keep in her desk. I turned it over in my hands, feeling a rising anxiety, as if I were holding not a letter, but someone's secret. I tore it open right there on the landing. Inside was a single sheet written in my own handwriting. I recognized it instantly, those uneven letters, the familiar abbreviations, but I had no memory of ever writing this note. You know what you're doing. You always have. Don't pretend. I read the sentence over and over, trying to remember when or why I could have written it. Fragments of conversations, faces, scents flickered through my mind, but nothing formed a complete picture. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay next to my wife, listening to her steady breathing, and wondered if someone out there knew more about me than I did myself. Or maybe it was me, reminding myself of something I'd tried hard to forget. The next morning, I found her phone on the kitchen table, unlocked. I'd never checked it before, never had a reason, never any suspicions. But now, with that letter in my pocket, I suddenly felt I had to know the truth. Even if I didn't know what it was, I opened her messenger and found a conversation hidden in the archive. No names, just initials. The exchange had gone on for months. Every message was a hint, a half-truth, a phrase you'd only understand if you knew the context. I didn't, but I felt unmistakably that it was all about me. I closed the phone, put it back, and sat at the table. In my head, the words kept echoing. You know what you're doing. You always have. I didn't know, or maybe I just didn't want to. All day, I carried that letter in my pocket like evidence I couldn't show anyone. At work, everything felt unreal. Colleagues' words, clients' calls, even my own voice. I found myself looking at people, wondering who could have slipped me that letter, or was it me in some forgotten state warning myself? That evening, I came home earlier than usual. The apartment was quiet, only the fridge humming in the kitchen. My wife stood by the window, smoking, though she'd quit a year ago. I watched her back and realized I didn't recognize this person. She turned, saw me, and something unfamiliar flickered in her eyes, as if she was waiting for me to say or do something. I wanted to ask about the messages, the initials, about what was happening between us, but I couldn't. Instead, I asked if she was okay. She nodded, not looking at me, and left the kitchen, leaving behind the smell of tobacco and unease. I was alone again. I took out the letter, spread it on the table. Questions spun in my head. If this was a warning, who from? If it was a confession, of what? I remembered how months ago she'd started coming home late, spending more time in the bathroom with her phone, how her voice had grown tired in a way I'd blamed on work. I picked up her phone again, this time without hesitation. There were new messages in the chat. He hasn't figured it out, she wrote. Not yet, someone replied. I read those lines, and something inside me twisted with fear and anger. I didn't know who this person was, didn't know what was between them, but I felt that everything had already been decided without me. I stepped out onto the balcony, breathed in the cold air. Down in the courtyard, someone was laughing, a door slammed. I thought I could just leave, go downstairs, get in the car, drive away, and never look back. But something kept me here, in this apartment, with this letter and this woman I no longer knew. Late at night, she came back to the kitchen. We sat in silence for a long time. Then she suddenly said, "You know, don't you?" I didn't answer. I just looked at her, And in that moment, I realized I did. I'd always known. I just hadn't wanted to admit it. She went to bed and I stayed in the kitchen staring at the letter. I didn't burn it, didn't tear it up, didn't throw it away. I just put it back in the envelope. Let it stay. Let it remind me that sometimes we write ourselves warnings we don't want to read. What happens next? I don't know. I didn't leave, didn't forgive, didn't resolve anything. I just stayed. And maybe that's the worst betrayal of all, not between two people, but between yourself and yourself.